Hey everybody, this is Perch. A lot of talk about Marvel and DC. So here's a question. Hey Perchington, how's it going? I wanted to ask you if you think DC is becoming like Marvel in the Marvel Now, all new, all different Marvel Legacy era. I've noticed DC, since the Infinite Frontier relaunch, has been using a lot of the same tactics as those eras in Marvel. Multiple relaunches, several characters sharing the same mantle, miniseries being disguised as ongoing, multiple events per year, about 1,000 derivative characters. Hell, they're even taking the same writers who failed at Marvel. For what it's worth, I think the feeling at DC is that they're getting all the writers that made Marvel. This is kind of where I think there's this baked-in mentality within comics that no matter how many people disagree, how many people argue, inside the comic industry, people who work in comics, they rank the companies this way. Marvel is at the top, it's pinnacle. DC is next, and then Image is below that. And so even if Boom, say, outsells Image in a month, and they have, no, they're still, it just mentally, those three are the lock. And where DC and Marvel's concerned, there's been a long history of DC taking Marvel, for lack of a better word, cast-offs, because DC believed they were getting something from Marvel, like we're getting one over on them. And okay, it's kind of this weird legacy belief that I think doesn't have as much merit as people think, and certainly not as much as DC gives it credit for. But they're very much locked into that idea of if we can get a writer or an artist, and these days writers are the hotness, as they say. If you can get one, then okay, you beat Marvel somehow. You put one over on them. And I don't think that's true. I think that we're long past that, but it's weird how many people in comics still think that way. And so for DC, they've got all these Marvel writers coming in now from Tini Howard, Zdarsky, Kelly Thompson is over there, Matt Rosenberg, and in DC's mind, they are really poaching all the talent from the number one publisher, and they're very pleased to do that. But a lot of those writers were not putting up huge numbers of Marvel, so anyway, be as it may. Anyway, we'll continue. Mail. It says, none of these tactics work for Marvel, so I can't understand why DC will work for them either. But I'm still a relatively new reader, so maybe this is how things have always been. Hope all's good. Take care. Thank you. A little bit of this is how it's always been. Definitely that's true. I think that, this idea that the industry has maybe fewer new ideas than people think, like maybe a lot fewer new ideas than people think, it's kind of crazy how many of the same kind of tried and failed tactics, people just keep trying it over and over. And it's like, well, it's safer to do something that's tried and failed than to do something new and, potentially has, could be good, could be bad. Nobody knows. That's one of the broken parts of comics for sure, is that there is a, if at first it doesn't succeed, well, that's all you got. And it's too risky to try anything new. So we'll just stick with that one. We'll just stick with it doesn't succeed. And we'll just do that forever. It's weird. And I think it's one of the reasons why you see certain people in the publishers go over and over and over, back again. It's why you have people who are very clearly not successes. And they somehow get hired over and over and over again. And I made Sean Murphy uncomfortable during an interview where I mentioned that Bob Harris was one of these guys who had a terrible, terrible reputation at Marvel for how kind of some of his decisions were clearly negative for the company. Now, he is a nice guy. So the hard part about all this is like, there's certainly a lot of people in comics who are absolute pricks and they wear that on their sleeve. And so you don't really mind when they fail because, they're getting what they deserve. Or, somebody who goes on Twitter is like, take this, fans. And then their book promptly doesn't sell. They get fired. It's like, here's another guy, by the way, who in real life is a pretty decent guy. Honestly, none of you guys are going to believe it, but it's true. Pretty decent guy. But in online, he's taken on this new kind of dick persona. And that's Nick Lowe, who edits the Spider-Man books. And you're like, you're a nice guy. I mean, he's legitimately a nice guy. And yet he's over. He just like I'm just going to sarcastically troll fans. That's what I'm going to do. That's my calling in life. And so, you just got the sense that, if and when Nick Lowe is victim of Disney riffs, nobody's going to be like, oh no, oh, it's but anyway, Bob Harris, good guy, nice guy, pleasant. Unless of course you were, Chris Claremont or the Image Six or a lot of those people who do not have as fond of words to say about him. But anyway, generally, I mean, pleasant person, didn't do anything crazy or stupid, and yet not a success. And it's tough. I've mentioned this to a couple people. Every time you do, it gets kind of quiet and people get awkward. It's like, I like him a lot. He's a nice guy. Yes, he is. But by the numbers, it's weird that he keeps getting employed, and particularly as a consultant in comics. But anyway, people keep trying the same things, and that's just the way it's always done kind of attitude, and so there's a little bit of what's going on there. I don't think DC is a clone of Marvel New, Marvel Now, all different special event, any of those. Yes, there's a lot of writers now in DC who are writers from that era and a little bit after. Yes, they relaunched some things in a new number one. Yes, there is a way too big a reliance on legacy characters, but it doesn't seem like I think there's a couple differences. One, I don't think DC is going to keep relaunching. Now, I think the more they keep hiring and pilfering people from Marvel to come work for them, I think the more likely it is we're going to get into that scenario where they're going to, the new creators coming in and be like, this is the way it's always done. This is the way I know it. And DC's like, okay, I guess, Jason Aaron on Superman books, taking over for Philip Kennedy Johnson. It's like, I guess we better give you that new number one. All right. I mean, I guess if that's the way it's always worked, I mean, you can't argue. You can't argue with the way it's always worked because that's the way it's always worked. I don't know. I just on the surface, I think there's aspects of this that are blatantly absurd, and I'm not sure why they keep doing what they're doing, and I do not think it's smart, and I think it is destined to fail, and all of those things are true. But here we are, and so I do think that DC will not relaunch as fast. I don't think they're going to do this little adventure and then in 5 months or so or a year suddenly they redo it all. I think DC is trying to kind of be Marvel in the 2010 to 2014 era. I think you're going to see events that kind of feel like that. You're going to see. I think it's. By the way, if I could make a prediction about DC, we are going to get DC's version of Civil War sometime in the next 2 years, 3 years max. We're absolutely going to get that. I don't know if that's for they're building up with this Amanda Waller kind of Suicide Squad, got to take on the heroes or not. I know there's a big summer event coming next year that isn't this or isn't Civil War, or at least doesn't sound like it. But I think, with everything that's going on with Batman, kind of the Superman family and everything else, we are going to get the big superhero Civil War. This Batman Gotham war between Catwoman and Bruce is just trouble. They're absolutely going to do this. Heroes divide up sides and then go at it. And I mean, it feels very clear to me. So I think there's a lot of retreading going on, but I think it's not completely gimmick based. I do think, I mean, they're going to relaunch from time to time, and they desperately want to get some other heroes into the mix. And DC does seem to get in its own way in terms of actually creating a new hero and sticking with it. I mean, there's still a lot of heroes on the shelf from even that New Age of Heroes imprint that you could go back to. And but no, it's more fun to have the 19th Batman mercenary character. I mean, I don't know, it gets tiring. But the bigger topic, and I apologize for maybe taking your mail there, is why do comic companies see something that doesn't work? They have conclusive evidence it doesn't work. There's no doubt about it. The sales are not where they should be. The fan reaction is not good. And people inside comics, whether it's Marvel, DC, whoever, go, maybe this next time. Maybe you just need to try it one more time. Just try it one more time. See what happens. Okay. I don't know. It's wild to me. Anyway, What do you think? Is the dawn of DC turning out to be all new, all different Marvel now? Does it feel the same to you? Am I giving them too much credit? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, of course. And thanks for listening.